Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Brewdog once again, and this time we have quite an interesting beer. This one is the Restorative Beverage for Invalids and Convalescents, and it's got some pretty different artwork on it there. Another one of these Brewdog cans. So this one is an IPA and it comes in at 8.5%, or a double IPA I should say, and it should be quite nice. This one was rated into the 90s. It was like 92 when I checked it out on Rate Beer earlier, so it should be another very solid beer from Brewdog. And I have to admit, I do enjoy doing these catch-ups when I'm home on the Brewdog beers. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. Since it's Brewdog and I've done many of these, it will be very brief. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Brewdog reviews I've done before. There's about 100 or so of them now. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and you can go into the channel homepage and search for beer based on city, state, country, whatever. The whole channel uses a geography based tagging system, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. Always interested to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and your support is hugely appreciated. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brewdog. So Brewdog were founded back in 2007 by two Aberdonian guys, James Watt and Martin Dickey, and they were based initially in the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the very northeast corner of Scotland. But a few years later, I think it was 2012, they moved their production to their main facility in Ellon in Aberdeenshire, which is closer to the city of Aberdeen, where I used to study chemistry. These guys are known for being a largely experimental brewery and for being inspired by the American kind of craft brewing renaissance. They do market themselves, I guess, as an IPA brewery, although I would say that they do some really quite nice stouts. Sweet stouts especially are somewhere that Brewdog shine. And they say that one of their biggest influences in craft beer is actually Stone Brewing Company. You can taste that when you taste some things like Punk IPA and Hardcore IPA. They really are influenced by these kind of Californian beers. They've also done things like they've held the title of World's Strongest Beer on 3 separate occasions, but nowadays they've got this kind of thriving chain of pubs actually. They started off with this in Aberdeen in 2010. I was there on the opening night for that original bar, and since then they've spread all throughout the rest of Scotland, down into England, throughout Europe, further afield to Japan and Brazil, and they're forever growing that market. And they're working on their second brewery in Columbus, Ohio in America at the moment. But one of the most interesting things about this brewery is that they are the largest independently owned Scottish craft brewery these days. They've got a ridiculous capacity, and the thing is that they are crowdfunded as well. Their Equity for Punk scheme is how they've kind of funded a lot of these infrastructure developments, the new pubs, the new breweries, increased capacity in Ellon, and all of this. So for those of you that are studying business, the Brewdog business model is one that you're probably going to find some interesting things in. So definitely worth reading out. I think it was James Watt actually released a book that was talking about how they'd done all of this sort of thing. So that might be worth checking out, and you can get that in the Brewdog website. So make sure you check out the website in the description below. These guys have got a whole host of beers. They've got their core range, the amplified range. They also have the kind of small batch beers like this. They've got the Paradox range, which is all about barrel aging imperial stouts. The Abstracts. They also have the Ace of Hops, which is really nice as well. That teaches you all about the different hops that you can use in beers. But they've got a whole host of beers, and they do tend to be pretty solid. So I would recommend, if you haven't tried some of the Brewdog beers, you maybe want to have a look at these. Probably the best known Scottish craft brewery these days, in fact. But anyway, that's enough about Brewdog just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. There you can see it's got all the nice kind of zombie things there. It's almost like I forget what that program's called, the Addams Family. It's almost a little bit like that actually. It reminds me of that. There isn't a little blurb on this one, but I do have the Brewdog website here. It says, in 1843, Dr. Jonathan Pereira described the IPA as a most valuable restorative beverage for invalids and convalescents, a bold claim made because of the huge quantities of hops and the total lack of sweetness present in the IPAs of today. This IPA has a light and pale golden body which defies its punchy strength. This beer is savagely bitter and explodes with a powder keg of citrus, stone fruit and resinous hoppy aromas. This one is for hopheads and thrill seekers. So yeah, that's the little blurb on this one, but you can see the artwork is really nice. I really like that actually. I'll probably keep this can actually. I'm getting a growing collection of cans from Brewdog. This one actually was intended for the Norwegian market. It does say it's imported into Norway. And in Sweden as well, you've got the pant for 1 krona, but it should be very nice. The stats of this beer, I do have them written down as well. There we are. This one is an 8.5% double IPA. It's hot with Amarillo, Centennial, Citra and Columbus. Very common hops for Brewdog, in fact, and it's got a malt base of extra pale, so it should be very nice. So without further ado then, we'll get this guy open and we'll get on with the taste, and I'm looking forward to this one. I think this is maybe the second or third time that they've released this. It was originally released in bottles, and it had a sort of lime green, it had a lime green label on it. And I think I missed it the first time that they did it. I don't know how long ago it was they released it in that version, but yeah, should be a very nice beer, and it was highly rated at the time before. But so as you can see, this beer is poured a really kind of quite bright pale golden straw colour. That's very clear. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see the beer is very, very clear. There was a solid finger of a frothy white head, although it is fading away just to be a very thin foamy layer. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. It looks really nice actually. So let's have a look at the aroma in this one. Oh yeah, that smells quite nice. So I'm getting some kind of juicy oranges underneath this one, but for me there's actually a bit of kind of peaches and apricot coming out of this. You can smell that. I always find peach smells a little bit of a kind of dusty, it just smells this little bit kind of dusty or sort of cloudy aroma, and you can pick that up. That's probably the Citra hop that's giving you that. But you can smell these nice juicy or almost kind of gooseberry notes that you get from the Citra hop. It's really smelling of these slightly juicier tropical fruit notes that you'll get out of the Citra hop. You can't really smell, there's not much in the way of grapefruit and things, but it's more citrusy. There is a bit of orange, which will be from the Amarillo hop, but there's some peaches in there, I'd say, maybe a little bit of apricot or something like that. Gooseberries definitely, maybe some kind of lychee or something like that. It's the Citra hop that's dominating. It's these kind of aromas that are dominating the aroma of this one, and you can smell a bit of a floral aromaticity, and with that floral aromaticity I'm actually getting some of the juicier orange elements out of this beer. But yeah, maybe a little bit of passion fruit as well. Not quite grapefruit, not that kind of dark, almost sour character that you get from grapefruit. But this one has a nice kind of juicy orangey citrus and some of that nice juicy Citra hop. You can smell a little bit of the extra pale malt, but really this one smells very, very fruity and juicy. There is a little bit of the floral character, no real pine resins or anything like that in this one, just floral and then orange, and then that kind of typical Citra hop tropical fruit character. It smells lovely, so let's get stuck into this one then. This one is the Restorative Beverage for Invalids and Convalescents from Brewdog up in Ellon, Aberdeenshire in Scotland. Slàinte. That is nice. I have to admit, I always say that I like IPAs that have a big kind of caramel malt base to them, but this one's the complete opposite of that. It really doesn't have much of a malt base at all, and the thing is, it works very, very well. Yeah, the juicy fruity character in this one is absolutely lovely. That's a really nice beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. And you know, I might even go as far to saying this is probably one of my personal favourite IPAs that I've had from Brewdog, in fact. I really love the hardcore, and I loved the original Hello My Name Is series when they were doing the double IPAs. Those always turned out really, really nicely. The Jackhammer, of course, is a bit of a classic too, and the Monk Hammer and the Black Hammer that have come after that. But for me, this one is quite a memorable one. This is one that I would certainly hope to drink again. And in fact, that's one of the only downsides really with Brewdog. They're a very prolific brewery, and they do some really, really awesome beers. Some of them just disappear and you never see them again. But this one I'm glad they've resurrected. I never got the chance to try it before, but I'm glad I've had a go of it now. And this one, for me, this is a really nice drinkable IPA. I would maybe say that this is the most drinkable double IPA that they've done. And as I say, the thing that just sticks out for me about this one is the fact it doesn't really have a malt base, but the hoppy character is very nicely done. Yeah, that's a damn good beer. That's lovely. So to just analyse the flavour of this a little bit more, the malt base, like I said, in this one isn't really strong at all. You've got just a little bit of pale malt going across the middle of your palate there. You can feel that, but that's really a kind of background flavour, if you like. The hops are really spreading into the middle of the palate. You've got a bit of that piney resin just kind of underpinning the beer, but it's more of a dark floral aromaticity, and as you come further forward you can feel that building. The pine resins are there underpinning, there's some big floral aromaticity, and as you go round the front curve of the tongue you've got some of those nice grassy elements to the beer coming out. But that's good. Just behind the front curve of the tongue there, that's where you're getting all of these fruity characters. For me, the orange character from the Amarillo is underpinning the whole thing there. You have got a little bit of grapefruit that comes out just a little bit later on. That's usually the Centennial that gives you that. Centennial gives you a nice big dark floral aromaticity along with some of the grapefruit flavours, but you can feel that that grapefruit flavour just kind of making its way out later on in the beer. Columbus will give you a little bit of that, of course, too. But then later on you feel it goes from orange to grapefruit, and then you start to get these more kind of almost stone fruity characters that come out of the citra hop. You can get these later. There's a bit of gooseberries coming out in the aftertaste, maybe a little bit of the kind of, I'm not really getting the apricot and the peaches that I was picking up in the aroma. That's quite different in fact, but mainly it's orange, grapefruit. Then you've got these nice almost not quite mango, maybe more of a sort of lychee and gooseberry flavour coming out of this one, but really into the aftertaste that grapefruit comes out and then it lingers along with the floral aromaticity and a bit of the piney resins too. It's a really nice beer, this one. This is one of the nicest and most easy drinking double IPAs I've had from Brewdog, in fact. And you know, I've tried I think over 100 of their beers. Very, very prolific brewery, but for me this is one of the nicest double IPAs I've had. I would say this is probably the most easy drinking one I've tried from them, so that's pretty cool actually, and it is very different from the other ones I've tried. I usually like the big malty caramel ones, as I said, but this one just comes across as a very different type of beer, and it really works. In terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd actually say this is fairly light bodied. It's maybe pushing the mid bodied category a little bit, but the lack of malt base in this one, it's what makes it that little bit lighter. But what it doesn't have in the malt base from the sweet side of things, it makes up in the hoppy and juicy side of things. The bitterness on this one isn't too bad for me, but it's got a nice juicy fruity character that really comes into play at the end, on the tail end of the beer, and that works very, very well. The malt base, you know, you would probably say it's just very smooth because of these extra pale malts, but overall it is really quite nice. So yeah, if you get the chance to have a go with this one, definitely have a look at it. I'm not sure if this is meant to be one of the beers that's designed to help you with hangovers and things. Toul, of course, have the Reparations beer, but I don't know if this one is designed to do that. But the main point is it's another very, very solid beer from Brewdog. One of the most memorable double IPAs actually that I've had from these guys, just because of how different it is. So yeah, I'd recommend that you have a go with this one if you get the chance. It's got the typical Brewdog hop blend in it, you know, the Citra, the Amarillo, the Columbus and the Centennial. Those are all quite commonly used hops by Brewdog, and it works very well. More of a juicy IPA, this one, so if you like your nice orangey flavours and you like the sort of citra hop flavours too, you're going to enjoy this one. So make sure you check it out. Quite a memorable beer from Brewdog, this one, so I'm sure it will be released again in the fairly near future. But yeah, thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer and your favourite Brewdog beers, of course, in the comments section below. But until the next time, Slanging just now, make sure you check out all the usual social media, but most importantly, go and have a go at the Restorative Beverage for Invalids and Convalescents from Brewdog. This one is quite different from the other things that they do. Until the next time, it's Slanging just now, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.